Hi everyone, I'm Zach Lloyd and I go to Orange High School. I was assistant drum major this year and I've had several people ask me for tips and tricks about how to become drum major, things like that, what it takes to be a drum major, good conducting style, etc. So I thought I would create this YouTube channel. It's Drum Major Tutorials. It's pretty simple and pretty basic, but it'll get the job done. Um, so we're going to go ahead and start. This video is just going to be about basically how to get to drum major. Um, Step one is you need to learn how to march well. Um, when you're a drum major, you help teach people how to march and you teach them, especially if your school does it differently, how to march. I know some schools, um, sorry about that. Some schools step off with their left, some step off with their right, some backwards march a certain way. Transitions are always different for different schools. So you need to make sure that you learn your school's marching technique um, amazingly well. You need to be a great marcher because you will be critiquing marching and you need to know what you're looking for and what it takes to be a good marcher. Okay. Um, Second, close to second, is to play your instrument well. You need to pay attention to your dynamics and timing and all these elements that go along with being a great musician because you'll be called upon to take dynamics and timing and vertical alignment and stuff like that into consideration when you're conducting the band and you're helping teach the band their music for that year. So you need to be able to listen and hear when people are out of tune or who's playing too loudly or what you want to hear. So you need to be a good musician in that sense. Another big part of your job is going to be conducting. So step three is going to be learn to conduct. Many schools do different patterns for 2 and 4 beat patterns. That's basic. We use a lot of those. Sometimes you'll see a 3/4 pattern thrown in there in some shows. Um, like for example, every school plays the Star Spangled Banner. So at least we do in America. So that's going to be a 3/4 pattern. And there will be other videos on this channel talking about that. Um, you need There'll be an entire video section about nothing but conducting and how to cue and dynamics and stuff like that. Another thing, once you're named drum major, um, is going to be learning the show. Um, just as it is when you are in the marching band and you're not drum major, you need to know the music like the back of your hand. It, Not only do you need to know your music, you need to know everyone else's music around you. When they have a big cue, when the music will start, when it'll stop, cuts, dynamics, measure changes for meters, tempos. The best way to do that is to get a recording of your show and practice to that. But you also need to learn to read a score, which is where, again, a good musician comes in so that you can look and say, okay, this is what this instrument is supposed to be doing. Are they doing that? One thing that you don't have to do right when you get named drum major is learn how to salute. Um, there are different styles. There's like the British salute, there's an American salute, there's a military salute, all these different salutes. And you need to ask your specific band director what kind of salute are you looking for. There are some that are literally just straight up, out, down. There's some that do like the fancy hat tilt and up and back down. So it depends on, I guess, the headgear you're wearing, whether it be a shako or uh, a Spartan helmet, stuff like that. But also, uh, we'll get to that later. Um, Most high schools do not use a baton or mace when you're drum major just because you don't take into account most of the time when you're in, at least in America, you're not using a baton or mace because that's more of a professional style marching band with a drum major with the big long stick and the ornament type thing at the top. Um, Another thing you need to do is you need to learn to teach. I know that sounds really bad. You're like, we have a band director for that. But your band director's not always going to be around during all rehearsals. So you need to learn and teach yourself how to teach marching basics, how to teach different music sections, and try to remember how it felt when you were learning to march and help to lead your new members through learning to march patiently, because it can get very nerve-wracking, and the last thing you want is uh, to have someone be yelling at you when you don't know what you're doing instead of helping. So that's one big thing you want to watch out for. Another thing is you need to learn drill notation. Each school is different. I know for my school, we had basically it looked like graph paper with thicker lines for the yard lines and hashes and stuff like that, and each person was a dot with a number, and that's how we said drill. Um, so you need to learn how to set drill and how to read it, because most likely you're going to help set drill during band camp and stuff like that. I guess that was step 8. So now on step 9, which is to project your voice. You will definitely be giving commands like set and horns up and horns down, and calling out different uh, commands depending on your group's school. I know at our school we used to do Banton Hut when we were at Parade Rest, which are all these other different things that we do. I don't know if other schools do them, um, but you definitely need to learn to shout from your diaphragm and not your throat, because your voice will be gone the next day. You also need to find a pitch in your voice that's comfortable for you, because if you change your voice to give commands, um, you don't want to change it to be higher, because higher it does carry in higher instruments, but you'll strain your voice. So if anything, make it lower. Um, and also the rhythm of your commands. Also, you need to practice with that, because, for instance, with the Banton Hut, as soon as we would say that, the band would go with pride, and they'd be set. So if you call it out Banton Hut, no one can move to set with pride that quickly, and it look uniform across the whole group. So make sure that you still have a good, nice, steady tempo. Um, Depending on your school, I know some schools use whistles for command, and you might want to practice that, especially in parades. I know some schools do that because the group may be spread out and the crowd might be noisy or whatever. But you definitely need to learn that if that is part of what your school does. Um, not only does it have, not only do you have to be the best at conducting and best at how you present yourself, um, but you are the one person the band looks up to. So you want to have the self-confidence and know that you know that what you're doing, because the last thing a band needs is for somebody who doesn't know what they're doing to act like they don't know what they're doing. You definitely need, also that'll help to have your uniform, if to keep your uniform spotless. No matter what happens, keep your uniform the cleanest. That'll help you stand out and raise the overall look of the band. One thing that was difficult for me was learning to get up and down the podium um, with ease, especially the different ones that you'll be performing on. You definitely probably want to practice with the uniform on, if it has elements such as like a cape or like a one-arm cape, just because going up with the cape, you might step on it, things like that. That way you know how to easily get up and down quickly and efficiently and not fall off. Um, Another thing, uh, one thing that you'll probably go through with your band director once you're named drum major and it's ready for the competition season, they call it the shake and take. It's basically accepting awards on behalf of the band proper. At a competition, when an award is announced, you would then march to wherever they're handing out trophies, They will salute, you will salute, you will shake hands, get the trophy. Sometimes they take pictures, and then you march back, place the trophy in front of your band, and get back in line. Um, I probably should have put this first, but it's one of the biggest topics uh, that you need, and we'll do another video specifically on this, but it's about being the best leader you can for the group. The biggest thing about this is you need to lead by example, then by instruction. Um, a drum major is not only a leader, but it is someone who the band looks up to. So if you act stupid, you can't get mad when the band acts stupid. If you act, if you stay, um, if you show up late to rehearsals, you can't be angry when other people show up late to rehearsals. You also have to respect the band. The band will not respect you if you do not respect the band, and that is a problem that we've had before, and that I've seen in other bands, is they don't respect the other band members, and then it ends up not being a great season because there's no respect. And always provide constructive criticism. Instead of uh, saying, for instance, uh, get your foot in time. Say, okay, well, your marching technique is really good, but you're stepping off on the wrong foot. That way, you're kind of boosting their morale while still kind of telling them, okay, you're doing good at this, but this still needs work. There's still a lot of other things you need to do. For example, learning the rules of the competitions, getting feedback from other directors, things like that. Especially band members. Ask, okay, do you need this cue? Do you want that cue? Is my conducting pattern readable? Things like that. Talk to the band and get to know the band so that you can help them, because you need to give them what they need and they need to give you what you need. So it's a, I forgot what the word is. It's a, it has to be a very strong relationship between you and the band, or else the season will fail. Um, you definitely want, before you graduate, which is kind of what I'm doing now. I'm graduating in a few months and age out. So before I move on, you definitely want to help train those beneath you to give him or her an opportunity to practice and learn what the role is about so that they know what they're getting into and can be a better drum major than you were, because you never want someone who's under where you were. You always want to build upon that so that it always gets better and better and better. And then, yeah, that's about it. And one other tip, if you can attend a drum major camp or something like that, that'll help a lot. Or if you can find formal training, you can get all the instruction you want from your director or other drum majors. But always remember that if you want it enough, and you work hard enough, the sky's the limit. So thank you guys for watching, and I am going to go ahead and log off now because I have to go to practice now. So bye guys.